Hi, I'm Mrs. Pullman from Mrs. Pullman's Classroom. This is a walkthrough of my TPT resource research materials bundle, and it's an explanation of how I use them in the classroom and makes it super easy for the teacher to hand out everything, walk students through all the materials, and then the end result is a very structured, well-crafted essay that makes sure to include evidence-based resources. So go ahead and watch this, and if it's something you're interested in, I will have my TPT store linked below. Thanks so much.
Hi, this is Mrs. Pullman from Mrs. Pullman's Classroom. Thank you so much for buying this resource. I'm going to go through everything that's available to you, what all these links are, what all the documents are, and what they look like, and how I use them in the classroom, just so you have a little bit to go off of. Most of these are materials that can be given to students. I use Google Classroom to administer them that way. I make a copy for each of my students, and then they have these files accessible to them as well. Some of them I post as materials, and some I actually post as the assignment. So the first thing that I do, or that you could look at just to kind of get an idea, is go over the student example. So this is formulated in MLA. Students will fill their information in the top left hand corner. And then what they will end up with is a 5-paragraph essay. An introduction, 1 body paragraph, 2 body paragraphs, 3 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. Now, our students focus on a scientific topic, and there are many branches of science, so it really opens it up to a lot, but at least makes sure that students are looking at something that it will have research that they can look into, that has been researched, peer-reviewed. I do basically a whole day on Google Scholar, so I teach them how to use it, and then also I walk them through like the tips and tricks of using Google in terms of like shortcuts that you can put into the search bar, like cite.edu, cite.gov, minus.com, things like that. And maybe I'm going to make a document and I'm going to put that in here as well, so you can have that, because they're really nice shortcuts and do get a lot of good results for students. So anyways, this is the draft, the student example of one that's well done. What you'll notice is a topic sentence using an article and the author. It has in-text citations. It has explanations of those quotes, transitions between evidence. We do 2 pieces of evidence per body paragraph. And then a works cited at the bottom as well, per that MLA citation. So that is the example. This is an outline that explains what each piece of the outline does or means. So topic sentence expresses the main idea of this paragraph. Evidence is a direct quote or paraphrase of information you found from a credible source. So it explains what is supposed to go in each piece of the outline really well. Everyone appreciates this. And then this is a scaffold for if you have any students that are going to need more assistance. The fact of them just like writing an essay is crippling, or they have an IEP or any type of service plan. It's really just fill in the blank. You could use this as something that they could type into, or you could print it out and have them write in there, whatever their preference is. And you'll notice it does just have 1 body paragraph. You could copy and paste and make multiple body paragraphs. I have just 1. And then this is what I give to all of my students. So they have 3 body paragraphs in here, the intro and conclusion. And here's what I do that's a little bit different. We write our thesis statements first. That way they know what direction they're going into. Once they have their thesis statement, then they dive into research a little bit more, and then they can go back and refine that. So then we plug in evidence. We do pretty much a whole day in that. Then we write explanation 1 and explanation 2. Then we write transition phrases, and then we go back and do the topic sentence and concluding sentence, because it makes sense for my students to not write a topic sentence unless they know what they've written so far. Like they have some type of direction, but this kind of helps make it more cumulative. So we break it down. I pretty much do a day per word in the outline. So we spend a day on evidence, we spend a day on explanations. This unit, if I do it well and have enough time, will take 2 weeks. So students have time to do their research, they have time to write each part of their outline, and then we have lots of time for peer review, revision, and editing. And those are 2 different things. I make sure to explain that as well. This is the peer review list. This I do print out. You absolutely could use this as something that they could type into as well. It works for both. There's questions, so the student reads their peer's paper. You can have them, I usually just have students share with that one peer, so they have access to their paper. They can make it just a view only, and that works really well. And then it's a checklist to go down this way. And then it ends with a constructive criticism and compliment. And then lastly, the self-editing checklist. So you'll notice in the peer review, it's mostly about like big picture ideas. And then once they've done that revision of holistic big thinking, then we go to the mechanics. And here's what will happen when you click on these links. They are prompted to have you make a copy. So all the other ones you said copy of, or you saw make a copy of, that's what this is. So this is the last thing. Self-editing checklist. So students, I have it like this, so I print out, cut it in 4s, and then have students do it, but you could just like delete the other 3 if you wanted to send this digitally. Punctuation, capitalization, grammar, and spelling. Just one last check to make sure everything's good to go. And then here's where you get to make a choice, but I have my students leave their essay in this outline. I don't have them delete these headings because, one, it's just really about formatting. So if they want to like print out and have a pretty copy of paragraphs at the end, that's a step that they could take. That's a step that you could have them take. But at the end of the day, what I'm looking for is to make sure that they understand what a well-written thesis statement is. So if they put that behind the thesis statement border, and it's a good thesis statement, we're good to go. If they put something behind the thesis statement headline that is not a thesis statement, then we have some conversations that we need to have. Same thing with topic sentences, evidence. So they're putting what they think is a good blank in that outline spot. And I like being able to see if they understand like what a good explanation of evidence is or not. So I just have them leave that and turn it in as is. We, in the past, have had them do like a science board with this and an experiment that corresponds with this research paper. So they do go back after they've turned this in and I've graded it to make any final changes and then make it into a pretty paper. But that's a choice that you get to make with this resource. So please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. Thank you again for purchasing this and have a great rest of your day. Have fun.